Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings. The goal of these briefings and my weekly radio show, Operation Freedom, is to provide you information the bought-off, lamestream, fake media will not touch. We do the same with our radio show every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. It's a live show. It's free. Join us. Come to davejanda.com. Go to the upper right-hand corner. Hit the listen button, and you'll be exposed to great analysis, great guests, information that I believe will benefit you on a daily basis. You can join us every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. We're also available 24/7 on this YouTube channel, and we're also available on davejanda.com 24/7. We have a free, a public side, and the subscription side, 30 cents a day, $9 a month. You can try it for a month and get rid of it if you don't like it. Not sure why. Because the information you get, the guests you're exposed to with our extra shows we have on the platform, you'll never be experienced through the bought-off, lamestream, fake media. Today's topic is President Trump versus the deep state's illegal spying, entrapment, and treason. We've been going through a bit of a goat rodeo as it relates to this contempt of Congress charge against Attorney General William Barr. Zero Hedge just put it this way. Why hasn't a single Democrat looked at the 99.9% unredacted Mueller report provided to Congress? Why? I believe the answer is very simple. The reason is because 99.9% of the Congress critters, if you want to call them that, Republicans and Democrats alike, are owned by the globalists. And they're clued in. The Russian collusion narrative against Trump was fake. Therefore, there was really no reason for the Mueller report. So why should they take their, quote, valuable time to review it? It's interesting that same group of globalist puppets led by Nadler and his House Judiciary Committee have decided to hold Attorney General Barr in contempt of Congress for not presenting a completely unredacted version of the Mueller report. I mean, this is like surreal. Look, the part of the report that was redacted was based on information that's called 6E material, which is information related to grand jury material and testimony. It would be illegal for Attorney General Barr to present that information. So he's being held in contempt of court by Nadler and the House Judiciary Committee for following the law. I questioned if really 99.9% of the report was unredacted. And I contacted a number of my very reliable sources in Washington and said, can you tell me for certain that that report is truly 99.9% unredacted? And here's what they came back and told me. And this was confirmed by several of these sources. Out of this entire 400-page document, there were 2 full lines and 7 partial lines, 2 of which were in the footnotes of the report that were redacted. That's it. So it was 99.9% unredacted. Yet they haven't taken any of their valuable time to go read it. And the reason is because they know that was all a setup. It was all a frame. It was all entrapment. It was all treason. Why did these folks go to such lengths to create this fake Russian collusion narrative? And the reason is something that we have focused on for the past 2 years with our radio show Operation Freedom. So when General Tom McInerney came on our show on March 19, 2017, and presented information that he brought forward through Admiral Ace Lyons, that in the Obama administration, under the tutelage, if you will, of Barack Obama, his director of the Central Intelligence Agency, John Brennan, his director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, they oversaw a program. They hired a guy by the name of Dennis Montgomery, who actually is obviously a brilliant IT expert, created a illegal surveillance platform under Dennis Montgomery to illegally surveil emails, phone calls, internet activity, financial transactions, texting of not just Trump, not just his team, but of millions of Americans. Millions. You and me. Violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. That alone would be prosecution against Obama. Prison time. Obama, Brennan, and Clapper. And what we did on that radio show is it was the first time high-ranking individuals came on a TV show or a radio show and spoke about the hammer. And it set the deep state into panic. They had to divert attention from it. They had to try to deep six it. They had to try to apply force to those of us that brought this forward to shut up. We didn't. Two great investigative journalists, Mary Fanning and Alan Jones, reported on the hammer a week or two before we presented in our radio show. Their sites were taken down. The deep state did everything in their power to suppress the information. Recently, Mary Fanning and Alan Jones wrote another article about the hammer and about what happened with our radio show and getting the information out and the deep state's reaction. Here's what they write, quote, according to highly placed sources, General McInerney's radio appearance on Operation Freedom, quote, created a veritable blank storm in Washington, D.C., and immediate blowback from the deep state, end quote. The same FBI and Department of Justice officials who investigated Dennis Montgomery's assertions regarding Brennan and Clapper's illegal super surveillance system and who took possession of the 47 hard drives of proof from Montgomery then morphed onto Robert Mueller's Russia collusion team. Not a surprise, is it? FBI Director Jim Comey's FBI General Counsel Jim Baker and Department of Justice Assistant U.S. Attorney Deborah Curtis, who negotiated Montgomery's immunity agreements, were both deeply involved with Mueller's Russia collusion investigation. Comey's right-hand men, FBI agents William Barnett and William Giardina, debriefed Dennis Montgomery in a secure skiff after Montgomery had handed over the 47 hard drives that Montgomery claimed proved that under President Obama, Brennan, and Clapper, that they were running a massive illegal surveillance operation for leverage and blackmail. As Mary Fanning points out and Alan Jones points out, the deep state panicked. They put Comey on point. They said, make this go away. Make it go away. Divert everybody's attention to something else, to another shiny object. Don't let them focus on the hammer. And there was the cover-up. And the cover-up was the fake Russian collusion with Trump. The Washington Post reported the day after our radio show, March 20th, 2017, the day after General McInerney's Sunday afternoon interview on Operation Freedom, quote, FBI Director James Comey acknowledged Monday, March 20th, 2017, for the first time, that his agency was conducting an investigation of possible coordination between the Kremlin and the Trump campaign in a counterintelligence probe that could reach all the way to the White House and may last for months. In addition, the extraordinary disclosure came near the beginning of a sprawling 5.5-hour public hearing before the House Intelligence Committee in which Comey also said, and here's where he lied to Congress, and for this alone he goes to prison, there was, quote, no information that supports President Trump's claim that his predecessor ordered their surveillance. He already knew about Dennis Montgomery. Dennis Montgomery had already turned over the information to the FBI, and Comey was aware of it. Right then and there, Comey goes to jail for perjury. But remember, we also had a tip-off, inadvertent, by good old Maxine Waters in February 2013 about the hammer. She was speaking to Roland Martin. Here's what she said, quote, the president has put in place an organization with a kind of database that no one has ever seen before in life. It's going to be very, very powerful. The database will have information about everything on every individual on ways that it's never been done before. President Obama has been very smart. It's very powerful what he's leaving in place. You see, in 2013, they all thought that Barack Obama would be handing the baton to fellow globalist Hillary Clinton. And they would still have that hammer database to hammer, to use as leverage, to use as blackmail against anyone and everyone who spoke out about the deep state. Well, they were wrong. And the American public stood up in November 2016 and did not coronate deep state puppet Hillary Clinton. And now they're panicked. Why? Because what goes around comes around. AG Barr launches wide-ranging probe into 2016 FBI spying and entrapment. This from Zero Hedge. Attorney General William Barr told the Senate Judiciary Panel that he has assembled a team in the Justice Department to probe whether the spying conducted by the FBI against the Trump campaign in 2016 was improper. Barr suggested that he would focus on former senior leaders of the FBI and Justice Department. Quote, to the extent there was overreach, what we have to be concerned about is a few people at the top getting into their heads that they know better than the American people. End quote. Barr will also review whether the infamous Steele dossier, a collection of salacious and unverified claims against Donald Trump assembled by a former British spy and paid for by the Clinton campaign, was fabricated by the Russian government to trick the FBI and other U.S. agencies. Trick, yeah, sure. Quote, we now know that President Trump was being falsely accused. We have to stop using the criminal justice process as a political weapon, end quote. William Barr. And now, as remember I mentioned, the lead counsel for the FBI under Barack Obama and James Comey, James Baker, was involved in getting that information, processing the immunity for Dennis Montgomery. Well, he's getting nervous today. Obama's top FBI lawyer distances himself from the Steele dossier as the Department of Justice investigation looms. James Baker, the Obama's FBI top attorney, general counsel for the FBI, said that he was skeptical about the Steele dossier and concerned about its veracity when the agency received it prior to the 2016 election, according to Daily Caller's Chuck Ross. Chuck Ross does great work. This guy is trying to present a narrative to try to protect himself when the information comes forward through the declassification and through the Inspector General Department of Justice's and Michael Horowitz's report on the FISA abuse. It was more information that I viewed skeptically from the outset, he said, and I was concerned about it, and I had a jaundiced eye or looked at it with a jaundiced eye right from the outset. Yet he approved the use of that material, the Steele dossier, paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC, with help from information from Russia. So who really colluded with Russia? Right, Hillary and her campaign. And the FBI and the Department of Justice. Right. They still presented it to the FISA court as being legit and never outlined reportedly to the FISA court that it was in fact paid for by Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC. The dossier, a collection of memos compiled by an ex-British spy funded by Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign and the DNC, was used by the FBI to obtain a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrant to spy on Trump campaign aide Carter Page. Steele alleged that Page provided the Trump campaign a Kremlin back channel during the election. Yeah. But you see, this was about entrapment of those aides, dirtying them up. Who was involved in that? Well, let's take a look. FOIA documents. Mueller top prosecutor, pet rat, right-hand man. Right-hand rat, I should say. Andrew Weissman, hand-picked team of angry Democrats. When Trump called the Mueller investigators, quote, 18 angry Democrats, end quote, he wasn't kidding. According to 73 pages of records obtained by Judicial Watch, who does a great job on this, Mueller's special counsel prosecutor Andrew Weissman led the hiring effort for the team that investigated the Trump campaign. Notably, Weissman, who's obviously not biased, obviously not a globalist, attended Hillary Clinton's election night pity party in 2016 and wrote a positive email to former acting Attorney General Sally Yates, who, by the way, will come to the forefront about her role in illegal unmasking of individuals such as General Flynn, when she refused to defend the Trump administration's travel ban. And as you will see, he was on a mission to recruit a politically biased fleet of lawyers for the Mueller probe. Quote, these documents show Andrew Weissman an anti-Trump activist, had a hand in hiring key members of Mueller's team, who also happened to be political opponents of President Trump. This from Tom Fenton, the president of Judicial Watch. These documents show that Mueller outsourced his hiring decisions to Weissman. Well, speaking of Weissman and speaking of entrapment, even the New York Times has had to fess up to it. There was spying. Spying! Whoa, that word again that they hate to have used. Why? Because it links back to the hammer. There was spying. New York Times admits Obama administration used a honeypot to spy against Trump campaign in 2016. A mysterious Turkish woman who assisted FBI spy Stephen Halper, who, by the way, was paid over $1 million by the Obama administration, who also was very tied to the Bush family. In a London operation targeting Trump campaign aide George Papadopoulos has been revealed as yet another FBI operative sent to spy on the Trump campaign during the 2016 U.S. election. The woman, who went by the fake name, Azra Turk, posed as Halper's assistant. While in London in 2016, Ms. Turk exchanged emails with Mr. Papadopoulos saying meeting him had been the, quote, highlight of my trip, end quote. According to messages provided by Papadopoulos. I'm excited about the future holds for us, she wrote to Papadopoulos. And as the New York Times actually makes clear, the FBI sent her to London as part of the counterintelligence inquiry opened that summer to investigate the Trump campaign, or should we say to entrap the Trump campaign. The conversation in a London bar in September 2016 took a strange turn when the woman sitting across from Papadopoulos, a Trump campaign advisor, asked a direct question to him. Can you say entrapment? Quote, was the Trump campaign involved in working with the Russians? Ms. Turk went to London to help oversee the politically sensitive operation, working alongside a longtime informant, the Cambridge professor Stephen Halper. The move was a sign that the Bureau wanted in place a trained investigator for a layer of oversight, as well as someone who could gather information or entrap or to serve as a credible witness in any potential prosecution that emerged from the case. But it didn't stop in 2016. It continued in 2017. FOIA documents show evidence of Weissman-Mueller entrapment scheme. Recently released FOIA documents into Special Counsel team of Robert Mueller revealed the remarkable trail of a 2017 entrapment scheme conducted by prosecutor Andrew Weissman to target George Papadopoulos. This from the Conservative Treehouse. Great site, great information. Important to note is this Department of Justice FBI entrapment operation being conducted in 2017 by the Special Counsel. This is not prior to the 2016 election. The detail surrounds a series of events where Papadopoulos was approached by a known CIA operative, this one named Charles Tawil, not Azra Turk. No, that was the 2016 version of entrapment. This is the updated and improved version of entrapment in 2017. In 2017, George Papadopoulos and his wife Simona were approached in Greece by a known CIA FBI operative, Charles Tawil. Mr. Tawil enlisted George as a business consultant under the auspices of Energy Development Interests. Actually invited him to Israel. On June 8th, 2017, in Israel, Tawil hands Papadopoulos $10,000 in cash for future consultancy based on a $10,000 a month retainer. On June 9th, 2017, according to his book, Papadopoulos and Tawil fly back to Cyprus. But Papadopoulos became concerned about Tawil. Remember, they tried entrapment on him before. He kind of had he got a vibe. No. Instead of keeping the cash, Papadopoulos gave the money to an attorney in Greece before traveling back to the United States on July 27th. And who was waiting for him on July 27th, 2017, when he flew back to the United States at Dulles Airport? Yep, Robert Mueller had FBI agents waiting. Papadopoulos was stopped. His bags were searched. He didn't have the cash. Uh-oh. Entrapment didn't work so good by Mueller and Weissman. They're panicked. They're desperate. One of the other reasons why they created the fake Russian collusion narrative was to divert attention from the hammer, which was illegal, and rightfully so would send Obama and Brennan and Clapper to prison, plus whoever else worked on it. But they were also concerned about Hillary's email server, that illegal one that was in her residence, the one that she had classified information on, the one that had been this was put forward in Congress through the Inspector General, congressional testimony, that 5 foreign countries, including China, according to Louis Gohmert, who presented that information to the Inspector General, that 5 foreign governments hacked into her server, got the information, including China. And by the way, right after that there were 18 of our operatives in China that were found killed. Yeah, that server. You see, the fake Russian collusion narrative was also to divert attention from Hillary's illegal server. Because remember, it has come out that President Obama, for years, communicated with Hillary Clinton under a fake name, under a pseudonym, fake email with her. Can you say violation of the Espionage Act by Hillary and Barack? Because if you can, you're accurate. This from Mark Tapscott. The Obama White House knew about Clinton's emails earlier than previously admitted. Remember, Obama stated that, he didn't find out about it until, March 2015 because, I read it in the newspaper. Come on, man. Your name's all over that server. Top officials working in the White House under former President Barack Obama knew Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was using a private email system for official business 3 years before it became public. And I imagine years before that. According to documents obtained by, again, Judicial Watch. Great job by Judicial Watch. Ultimately, it became known that Hillary Clinton had generated more than 50,000 non-secure emails to and from other U.S. government officials and private individuals. These documents suggest that Obama White House knew about the Clinton email lies being told to the public, at least as early as December 2012. Judge Lambert, who reviewed this information, called Clinton's use of the non-secure email system based in her home, quote, one of the gravest modern offenses to government transparency, end quote. Federal law and regulations require all federal employees to use secure government communication system for official business, especially when transmitting classified information and documents. Why do I bring that up? Well, several reasons. One, it was one of the reasons why they had to create the fake Russian collusion narrative. But I bring that up, and here's why they're getting so jumpy. There is a prosecutor that Sessions had appointed, in addition to Durham. Now remember, Durham reportedly just came on the scene. My sources tell me Durham has been working on the leak situation, has been working on the Russian fake narrative issue for many months. Not days, not weeks, many months. And for him to be working on it many months, that would mean that he was put in place behind the curtain by Attorney General Sessions. Attorney General Sessions also put John Huber to look at the Department of Justice, the FBI, the email situation. Many people say, well, Huber hasn't been doing anything. Okay. On Friday, May 17th, Prosecutor Huber tweeted the following, a reference to a press release from the Department of Justice dated Friday, May 17th, that same day. Former CIA officer sentenced to prison for what? Violation of the Espionage Act. He's laying it out. Remember, Sessions has Huber looking at the FBI and the Department of Justice, how they handled the Trump-Russia collusion fake narrative, as well as the Hillary email situation. Huber highlighted this on Twitter on Friday, this past Friday. Here was part of the press release. Kevin Patrick Mallory, 62, of Leesburg, Virginia, was sentenced today to 20 years in prison to be followed by 5 years of supervised release after being convicted under the Espionage Act for conspiracy to transmit national defense information to an agent of the People's Republic of China. Sound familiar? Do you think he's sending a message? No, nothing's happening. Wait a minute. We just had a CIA dude convicted, going to prison for essentially life under the Espionage Act for information that he transferred to China. Tell me the difference between that and Hillary Server. And then here is what Huber wrote underneath in that tweet. To Assistant AG Demers, quote, this sentence, together with the recent guilty plea of Ron Hansen in Utah, deliver the stern message that our former intelligence officers, and might I add, government officials, have no business partnering with the Chinese or any other adversarial intelligence service, end quote. Tweet by John Huber. Huber sending a message. The deep state is panicked. I believe that in the coming weeks, you are going to see movement out of the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz presenting information on the FISA abuse. And you're also going to see movement on the declassification front. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I thank you for your time. I hope you'll join me on the radio show every Sunday, 2 to 5 Eastern. I hope you'll join us, continue to join us, take a look at all the other videos we do here on our platform, Operation Freedom on YouTube. I hope you'll join us at davejanda.com, both the free side, and also I hope you'll become part of our subscription family, our Freedom family, where we have extra shows, extra content, and you have access to all the podcasts of our radio show all the way since its inception in October of 2010, and the archives from all of our other shows since their inception. I thank you for your time, and as we end every segment, dream big and dare to fail.